Do you have thousands of important photos, videos, and documents scattered across your many devices or hidden away in shoeboxes? That is no way to preserve your family's history. Mylio Photos brings all your memories together in one place to be easily and safely organized and shared. To learn more about how Mylio Photos can help preserve your family legacy, visit mylio.com/FTM. That's mylio.com/FTM. Subscribe today and receive free gifts valued at $80. Your memories deserve Mylio Photos. Welcome to Family Tree Magazine's Best Websites podcast. This is the podcast devoted to finding the best websites to help you with your genealogy research. I'm Lisa Louise Cook. Well, you're in for a treat today because rather than just one best website, we've got 101 best websites for you. Well, at least as many of the 101 as we can fit into one episode. And here to help us do that is author Rick Crume. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Lisa.
You know, Rick, actually, I've been doing the math, and I have noticed that we actually have about 176 websites if you roll in the list that you wrote, which is the 75 best state websites. That's being published in the July-August 2023 issue of the magazine. And of course, we also have David Fryxell's 101 best websites list. So my gosh, we have a lot to choose from. Let's jump right into them. I'd love to have you talk a little bit about, was there a favorite part of the 101 best websites list? Any websites that really stood out to you from that one that you want to share?
One of those websites that I find really intriguing is called Reclaim the Records. And sometimes government agencies try to limit access to vital records and other records, even though, according to the law, the records should be available. And a group called Reclaim the Records uses freedom of information laws and open data requests to request access to those sites. And they've had remarkable success, making over 30 million records available to the public. And those records are now online, sometimes on more than one website. Sometimes they're available for free, also through subscription websites like Ancestry. This is really pretty remarkable. And in relation to that, I could mention my upcoming 75 Best State Websites article coming out, I think, in the July-August issue of Family Tree magazine. One of the new sites in that list is called the NYC, that is New York City Historical Vital Records Project. And I think this whole website really came about as a result of the Reclaim the Records group demanding access to those records. So with New York, it's really feast or famine. You know, they have historically charged an arm and a leg to get copies of birth, marriage, or death records. And now they're putting all of these records online for free. So go to this new website, the NYC Historical Vital Records Project, and there you'll find that the New York City Municipal Archives is providing free access to 13.3 million vital records, including records of birth from 1866 to 1909, marriage records from 1866 to 1949, and death records from 1862 to 1948. And as of the most recent figure I have, they were 76% complete with this digitization project. So it's an ongoing project. But that's really amazing that we now have access to all of those millions of records from New York City for free. And they're not just indexes. You actually get to view digitized images of those original records, which you otherwise would have had to pay. I can't remember how much it was, but it was quite a lot to get a certified copy of those records if you ordered one. So this is really just a tremendous resource for genealogists.
And it's so impressive how people who knew the law, looked into it, that they pursued it to be able to make those records available. Just because the law allows for it doesn't mean necessarily that the governmental agency is doing it. And so it's fantastic to see them doing this on everybody's behalf to make them available. And wouldn't you say, Rick, so many of our ancestors came through or had, some touch point in New York before they went on to other points across the country and into other countries. So this could actually impact a lot of families.
For sure. Personally, I have a lot of ancestry in upstate New York, plus some in New York City, not only direct ancestors, but also, other various relatives that I'm researching too. So I think, like you say, a lot of Americans researching their family history will find connections, especially to New York City, plus California, where we also have some very interesting sites on these lists.
Oh, do tell, because I know you've unearthed several that I haven't seen before. You said there's another one in California that you really like?
In fact, there are several, yes, from the 2022 list of the 75 best state websites. One of those sites is the California Digital Newspaper Collection. And this is just one of my favorite resources of any genealogy website because I have a lot of California connections in my family. And it's a really large website with 7.7 million newspaper pages from back to 1846 up to 2021, maybe more recent by now. And it's really an easy website to use too. So if you have California ancestors, you cannot overlook California Digital Newspaper Collection. It is a tremendous website.
Fantastic. Well, we're talking about 75 best state genealogy websites. And of course, since there's 75, there's even multiple for a couple of these states. What's another one of your favorites?
Well, here's one that's kind of unique. In most cases, for the 75 best state websites, we look for websites that have a lot of digitized records. They provide things like digitized family papers, diaries, letters, things that you won't find on the really big websites like Ancestry and Family Search. So, these are records that really give you an insight into your family's history, into their personalities sometimes and their lifetimes. So that's what a lot of these websites have in our 75 best state websites list. They have digitized records. One that's different from all those others is called Maine Genealogy. And on this site, they don't actually have the digitized records, but it lets you cover a lot of record collections in one search from that website. So you can go to Maine Genealogy, do a search, and it will give you a list of matches on Ancestry, Family Search, a site called Digital Maine, and the U.S. National Archives. Lets you cover a lot of ground with just one easy search. So,
Fantastic. Okay. Any others that we shouldn't be missing here on your list?
another one I might mention is the Montana Memory Project. That's how we have it listed in last year's list. The upcoming list for 2023, it's listed under the Montana Historical Society. Website is really good. They have, for example, links to search more than 140 newspaper titles. They also have 100,000 digitized yearbooks, letters, diaries, and prison records. And I even found a relative's records in the prison records, and it has a really good picture of him. So even though he committed a crime, a kind of minor one, he took a really good mugshot. So it was a nice record to find.
That's awesome. So we've been talking about New York on the East Coast. Do you have any Midwest websites that stand out to you and maybe some things that are new to your list this year?
One that's new for 2023 is the Illinois State Archives Databases website, and it has indexes covering a wide range of key sources for researching your family history in Illinois, and they include vital records, probate files, guardianship records, and naturalization records. It's worth checking that site for your Illinois ancestors. Another state that might be considered Midwest, Ohio, for the 2022 list and the 2023 list, it made both of them, is the Ohio Memory website. Quite a few states have created what they call memory websites. So these really focus on digitized records, including things like letters, diaries, and so forth. And on this Ohio Memory website, the Ohio History Connection and the State Library of Ohio have worked together with 390 cultural heritage institutions across the state, and the website has over 1 million digital images, and they include yearbooks, diaries, letters, county atlases, photos of Civil War officers, and newspapers. And so it's really a large website with a lot of digitized records that could really provide some interesting insights into your family history. Among them, those yearbooks are one that I find especially fun to use. In fact, I wrote a whole article on yearbooks and school records, and the yearbooks in particular I have found are especially worth focusing on.
Yeah, that's a terrific website. And what is so great about so many of these is so much of this is free. I know I've definitely dug into the Ohio Memory. They just have amazing wealth of records and photos, like you said. And of course, things are available for free. So I've been talking about this fantastic list of 75 best state genealogy websites. This is Rick's new list for 2023. And if you want to check out even the previous list for 2022, that's online at familytreemagazine.com. I'll have the specific link in the show notes. And that's kind of a handy list because it has a way to very quickly and easily sort by state. But do check out this 2023 list because as you hear, Rick's got some new terrific resources for us. Oh, it's always fun to go over these. Thank you for giving us multiple best websites in this episode today. We appreciate it, Rick.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It was fun to highlight some of these new websites and familiar old ones that I have found really useful.
Oh, it was great talking to Rick Crume today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Family Tree Magazine's Best Websites podcast. We will have links to all the websites that Rick talked about, as well as the full list of best websites. You will find those on the show notes, and the show notes can be found at familytreemagazine.com/podcast. And did you know that we have another podcast? So if you just found this Best Websites podcast, go back to your podcasting app and search for Family Tree Magazine, because we have a monthly show that I know you're going to enjoy. We talk to the authors and editors of Family Tree Magazine, and I certainly hope you'll join us there for that show. That show's been around for a long time, so you've got lots of episodes to catch up on if that's new to you. Just do a search for Family Tree Magazine in your favorite podcasting app. And I invite you to check out my podcast. It's the Genealogy Gems podcast. And you can find that over at genealogygems.com as well. At that website, you will also find a link over to my Genealogy Gems YouTube channel. I am Lisa Louise Cook, and until next time, have fun climbing your family tree.